So this is where leaders today need to be curious and start listening to who is it that I'm leading? What is it inspires them? What are their gifts and talents? What is their purpose? What do they feel like they can contribute? They need to be heard. Let's treat them like humans. Let's bring them along and align their purpose to our vision of where we want the company to go.
Welcome to Business Origin Stories. I'm Amy Schutte, your guide to crafting a magnetic message for a profitable business. This is the podcast for you if you're ready to claim the transformative power of your own origin story and use it to create a brand that finally stands out. We're here to level up, but more importantly, I'm here to help you elevate your influence, your community, and your impact on the world. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening. And remember, the stories you tell yourself are your greatest currency. I'm so excited you're here. Today, I am talking to one of my favorite fellow StoryBrand guides. Her name's Lisa McGuire. She is a coach. She's a certified personal brand strategist, award-winning business storyteller. She has an amazing podcast. And what I love about Lisa is that she always helps people, at least every interaction I've ever had with her, she really reminds people to come back home to themselves, which is something I love to coach my clients on. It's really important to me. She has this really cool framework called The Difference Is You, which helps service providers discover and live in alignment with who they are as they grow as a business that is designed around them. And she does this through multiple tools, but one of them that she uses is called human design. Human design is really, really fascinating. We go into human design today. It is just a very light touch. I feel like human design is so intense and expansive and complicated. So if you want to learn more about human design, especially for your business, Lisa would be the one to turn to because she is fantastic as a brand strategist at connecting your business with who you are. And this work of personal branding is just one of the things she does best. But we go into it today, and I think it's really fun. I'm excited for you to hear. She talks a little bit about all of the different energy types. We talk a lot about how you can create culture in your workplace too, as a leader, and what that looks like. And so today is really a beautiful, beautiful interview, and I hope you listen all the way through to the end because she drops her last few lines are just the wisdom that I need to put all over my office. And so anyway, with that, we'll jump right in. Okay, Lisa, I am so excited to have you on today. Thank you for being here.
Amy, when you asked if I would be on the podcast, I wanted to jump through the screen. Yes, I'll do it. Yes, we're going to have a great conversation today of all things, as we usually do.
As we usually do. So just a little, before we talk about things, and Lisa is someone that 2 years ago, did we meet in real life?
Yes.
At the StoryBrand retreat workshop. And it was so fun because then all of a sudden it was like we were meant to be together. And so anyway, I've had you coach me on things. Like, you have just been such a beautiful influence in my life and a beautiful mentor. And so and you're doing some new things. So we're going to talk about human design today, business coaching, storytelling, all the things. But before we get started, Lisa, can you tell everyone where you are right now?
I am in Atlanta, Georgia, a place where I can experience all 4 seasons.
All 4 seasons. That's lovely. Idaho's like that too. We get all 4 seasons, although our falls are a little too short for me. Need a little bit more. But okay, Lisa, tell everyone a little bit about what you do, but let's specifically talk about what you do with human design, because this is where we're going today. And I am so excited.
Yes, we are going there, Amy. We truly are. So what I do with human design, when I guess I really need to go back to, and I won't go back too far, but when I became a StoryBrand guide and started helping people as a messaging strategist, what I started seeing is when working with people in the same industries, how would you differentiate them? Even if they did have some different processes and systems, how could I do that? And that led me into a great interest in personal branding. Now, I will tell you, when people hear the word personal branding, they're thinking like social media influencer, like there's this negative connotation to it. But for me, personal branding is what is it that you have that makes me want to work with you? Not just your expertise, but your point of view. How do you think differently about things? What is your personality? Do I admire you? Do I want to be around you and your energy? And do I respect your character? So as I got more into that, I thought, how can we start differentiating people for them to be able to realize who they are? And the more we dug into it, the more I realized that I had to do this work on myself.
Mm.
I discovered human design. It's been probably 2.5, 3 years ago. And when I did, first of all, I just thought, what is this? Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't have to take a personality assessment, yet you're going to tell me about myself. Like, I was really skeptical about it. What is this stuff? Like, is it astrology? Is it like, what is it? And I'm a person that has to research things. And so the more I dug into it, I realized, what is the outcome like? Does it make sense? And it's one of those things, Amy, where once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's what human design ended up doing for me. So to help people understand who they are, I use human design for them to affirm how they operate, how they make decisions. There's all kinds of things. So it's really impactful in my work with building what I call a personal brand of integrity.
Oh, I love that. I always say too, there's this, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, there's so much noise out there, right? We're all competing against noise. And I always tell my clients, the best way to stand out is to keep coming home to yourself, because you are what changes the world, right? And your perspective and the things, even if you're running a whole team and it's your business, it's still you as the business owner or entrepreneur that brings that type of energy into your brand. And so that's why I am so excited to talk about this, because that really, I think, is the crux of what you're doing with your personal branding and how you got here and how it ties to business. Because I think a lot of times too, we talk about business and strategy and all these things. And then I like to go off on these other kind of tangents where it's, it's a lot of energy and intention and these other things that sound fluffy, but really they are the work, right? For us as entrepreneurs. And the more we can start focusing on these things, the more everything else just lines up. So that's why I'm really excited to talk to you today. Yeah. This will be so fun.
And if I can jump in there, you're really spot on with that, Amy, because entrepreneurship is really a financial method or model for us to work through personal development, right? I mean, you can't be successful as an entrepreneur until you do the personal development. And I always say personal development is professional development. So it is something that we must do that will help us increase the ability to be successful in our business.
100%. And I think you and I have both seen this when we started doing that work. It skyrocketed our businesses. And I think that's why we're both so passionate about talking about it, because we saw how it changed our lives, our team lives, our families, our communities. So for those people who are listening and they're like, okay, I'll listen. What the heck is human design? Like, really, what is it?
It's a great question. I think the best way, because again, once you get into human design, it could be very complex, but it is basically your energetic blueprint in your guidebook for your life. So think of it. You've always, we've always talked about, oh, I really love their energy. Or, when you walk into a room, like somebody just seems very magnetic to you, or they have this off-putting aura. That's another word for it. Your human design body graph, which is your chart, is your energetic blueprint. So it tells you how your energy is designed and how it flows through your body.
Okay, I love this. And this shows up because I was telling some friends about this who are very into, they're into strength finders or the Enneagram. They're like, do we really have to do one more? And I'm like, I think you do. So energetic blueprint, why does this matter, Lisa? Like, really, why does it matter that I know that, or what does that mean?
Yeah, that's really a great question, Amy. Why does it matter is, think about if you are navigating down the highway and you don't have a GPS system, you just may stop here and there. You may miss a really great attraction that you would have known about if you'd had this GPS. So really what human design does in this body chart, it tells you how you come off to others, how other people experience you. It highlights your personality versus your design. And those are two different things. One is what other people see in you. One is almost your subconscious or your soul print that you have, what you were designed to do, how you were designed and what you came here to do. It also will tell you what is a hurdle for you, which is really very helpful for us when it comes to business as well. How to empower yourself, where fear comes from. Does it come from the outside? Do you generate it from the inside? How you manifest things in your life, how you communicate things. I could just go on and on. There's a lot of information. But there are two things that I really, when I work with people, that I want them to take away is to understand how they encounter life and how they make decisions. And if you have those two things, that's the basic foundation of everything.
Okay, that's powerful, right? Because as business owners, we're making a million decisions every single day. So that would be really helpful. So if people are like, okay, I've never heard of human design before, which they probably have at this point, right? What did you tell me about the Washington Post? They said the Enneagram is out, human design's
in.
So you're on trend.
The Washington Post 2023 said the Enneagram is out and human design is in. And I would really like to speak to that specifically because I think a lot of people are big fans of the Enneagram. You know, it's a system where you can put yourself into one of 9 categories, and then you've got some other nuances that come in there. But if I could talk about a little bit where human design came from and why it works, it is based on ancient wisdom and modern science. All right. It is based on several different spiritual systems. So one is the Hindu chakra system, right? Mm-hmm. We've heard of chakras. We've heard of these chakra centers that we have, whether it's your third eye or whether it's your sacral or root or things like that. So if you look at a human design body graph, you will see there are centers. And human design, we have 9 centers. So that is one place where the ancient wisdom comes in. The next place that it comes in is what we call the Chinese I Ching. So this is 5,000 years old. 5,000 years old. The Chinese I Ching is based on 64 hexagrams, which this blew my mind when I learned this, can be connected to the 64 codons that relate to DNA. All right. So here we see a connection between this ancient wisdom and the science of DNA. Okay. So that opens up my mind to there's a lot more that we don't know that is out there, right? There's this whole interconnectivity that I believe the world of science has been resistant to. And that is starting to change quite a bit. It's starting to change as more of this becomes prevalent. So we see that Chinese I Ching appears in the body graph as one of the 64 gates that we have. Then also, if you look at the body graph, you'll see these lines, or I call them tubes or hoses that connect these together. Those are our channels. Those channels relate to the Kabbalah tree of life. Now, which is based on a Judaism practice that they have. So if you think about it, the Kabbalah tree of life, and if you look into Enneagram, that's what Enneagram is based on, the Kabbalah tree of life. The difference between the Enneagram and human design is the reason why you must take an assessment for the Enneagram is you have to put your thoughts into this assessment. And the Enneagram is the Kabbalah tree of life plus how you have been conditioned in this world. So how the world has impacted you, how your parents, your teachers, society, friends, how they have impacted you, the stories you've told yourself. So the Enneagram is how you are today or how you operate in this world with all the conditioning. Human design is who you were designed to be without the conditioning, what you came here as. Do you see the difference?
Oh my gosh. Yes. And so, okay. So for people that don't know how you get your human design or how you can figure it out, tell them how they can access that, because you're not taking a quiz or assessment, right? To answer personality questions. So how do you access your human design chart?
Right. Okay. So this is the best thing of all. This is the what, like the what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What we must know, how we do this is we need to know when you were born, including the time, AM or PM, and where you were born. Now, when you hear that, this is where people start saying, oh, this is astrology, right?
Right.
This is
Right.
astrology. It is not astrology. So why we need to know that is where the planets are at the time and place you were born will impact what we call neutrinos. Now, neutrinos are subatomic particles, smallest, teeniest, tiny bits of particles that spark off of the sun and the stars. And so these are flying through the atmosphere all the time. Right now, neutrinos are flying through our body, Amy. They're flying through the walls of our homes. They can go through lead, subatomic particles. And this was proven to be in the Nobel Peace Prize in 2015. Two people won the Nobel Peace Prize by proving that neutrinos had the smallest amount of mass. So again, here comes in science again, right?
Yeah.
Here comes in science. So human design is not predictive like astrology. But where it does align with astrology is where were the planets? What energy was flying through the atmosphere at the time you were born?
Right.
Now, as someone who is very logic-based, I was very linear thinking. Like when I first heard this, I thought, oh, this can't be right. Like, how can this be true?
Okay.
But again, when you see it, you can't unsee it. You just have to, it's a tool. Give it a chance. Let's see where it goes and see if it's accurate.
Okay. For people who, I asked my clients one time if they knew their human design, because I was really interested, right? Big entrepreneur, like lots of energy. But he didn't know when his birth time was. Is there a way to get around it if like, for some reason you're like, I know my date and I know where I was, but I don't know what my birth time is? Or is this, you got to go find your birth certificate?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that they don't know what time they were born.
Right.
And so what we do is there is a way to do it. We do start with, we track it at noon, 12 noon, and then we start backing it up to see which is more in alignment with how you are. Now, there is some people will go to an astrologer that will be able to track that back. But yes, you can do it. And again, we start at noon and then we start working our way out because even a few hours difference of when you were born will change your design and how it shows up in your chart.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Cause I was like, go find your birth certificate. I'm really curious, but okay. So there are a few different types in human design. Is that the best place to start? Maybe give us a little bit. So you find your birth certificate, you go, enter this in, there's a lot of websites you can go to kind of pull up your chart, and then you pull it up and okay, Lisa, this is where my brain like explodes a little bit because as you said, there's 64, there's all these numbers, there's these shapes, and then you're like, what? So it feels really overwhelming for someone that's like not wanting to get into all the numbers and all the things. So if people pull up their chart and it tells them their energy type, is that the best place to kind of start? Or because I want us to talk about that piece, and then I want to talk about how you connect it to business, because I think that is like the super secret sauce that everyone's going to be clamoring for in 2024.
Yes, I think so as well. So so when you pull up your chart, you're going to see this and you look at it and it's 9 different shapes, either triangles, diamonds, or squares. There's colors, there's lines that are colored in and not colored in. So first of all, there's really 3 things I want you to walk away with when you look at your chart. And when I analyze someone's chart, it can be overwhelming. When I work with someone on business strategy, it is 2 or 3 sessions because it does go so deep. So the first thing, let's look at type. There are 5 different types. There are generators, there are manifesting generators, there are projectors, there are manifestors, and there are reflectors. Those types indicate how you show up to the world. So I will start with generators and manifesting generators together. Those make up 70% of the population. All right.
Okay.
So the world is running on this manifesting generator energy.
Yeah.
how it's determined on whether you're a generator or a manifesting generator is if the sacral center, that area kind of like right around your belly button, okay, the sacral, your gut, all right? Have you ever heard somebody say, trust your gut? Guess what that is? Your sacral center, right?
I love
that.
So
70% of the world runs on this generator, manifesting generator energy. This is also, these people are known as the Energizer bunnies, all right? The world.
These are my kids, Lisa.
Yeah.
I've got a generator and a manifesting generator.
Oh, awesome. They're
great. Both fire energy. So they're just,
yes, they do.
A lot of energy in my house. Yeah,
they do. That is a lot of energy. Now, the thing about it is generators and manifesting generators, like we are here to do work we love. The difference between a generator and a manifesting generator, a generator goes deep and does not refocus very well. I am a generator. I find this when I try and multitask, like my mind turns to mush. My brain gets foggy. I'm much more productive and can be in my zone of genius when I can focus on one thing.
What good things to know about yourself. I mean, that's powerful in itself.
Yes. And you're talking about your children, there's so much of this information that I've been able to now relate to my children who are grown. And now I have 2 grandchildren. I have a generator and a manifestor. Those 2 grandchildren, like it helps us understand why they are the way they are. So we talked about generator, manifesting generator. Manifesting generator they're spinning a lot of plates. They can do a lot of things. They've got multi-passions. And again, but they have this energy. Generators, as I said, are here to know themselves, but also they need to get all their energy out by the end of the day. These people are to complete their energy, whether it's emotional energy, relational energy, physical energy, working in their zone of genius. We're here to put it all out on the table. This is why we can sleep well at night. If you are a generator or manifesting generator and you're having a hard time go to sleep, you probably haven't put all your energy out during the day. So that's good motivation to do that.
That's good to know. Okay.
That's why you need to keep those boys moving, right?
Yes, 100%. Okay. I love
all right.
That makes sense.
Okay. So next in the order of prevalence, so we've got 70% of the world are those generator types. Next are projectors, 22% of the world. All right. 22% of the world. Projectors do not have their sacral center defined. They are here to provide insights and wisdom. And this will be the type that will be taking over for generators as we move into a new era of consciousness. All right. They are insightful. They have great intuitive feelings, but they don't have this generator energy. There are some projectors who will go to a coffee shop so they can sit in proximity to other people so they can pull off the sacral energy from others because they need that energy. They typically, and so this is where the self-awareness comes in. If you're a projector, you probably have 4 to 5 hours max of energy to put into your work. After that, you're running on fumes.
Yeah.
So you have to know how to navigate your workday a little bit better. You need to prioritize rest. You need to know what charges you up. You have to be able to find joy. Projectors, as I said, are people that can provide insights. But again, projectors need to wait to be invited, to be asked for their insights.
Okay.
When they try and push their insights on people and it's not invited, then it comes off like people back away from them. And then projectors become very bitter. All right. Because they're like, I've got all this information. I can help
they're
you.
the sage. Okay.
Yes.
So was the 5-day 9 to 5, did a generator make that up?
I don't know. No,
I mean,
no, it's actually,
I feel like the work week would be a lot different if projectors were like, you get 4 hours a day.
Yes.
Then everyone go take a nap.
And so they need to pace themselves, right? To be able to do that and take their breaks and be more aware of that. All right. Then we're going to go to one of your favorites, Amy, the manifestor. All right.
Yeah, I am a manifestor.
You are a manifestor, and you are one of only 8% of people in the world as a manifestor. Now, manifestors are the only people who can initiate. The rest of us have to kind of sit back, and I don't mean sit back and do nothing, but we have to navigate the world a little bit differently.
Okay.
Manifestors must inform and then initiate. Okay. So what that means is you work best when you inform other people of what you're doing, and then you go get it done. Like you go take action.
Yeah.
What this looks like as a child, and where we have to navigate this carefully, is manifestor children. They know what they want to do, and they are going to go do it. They're going to go do it. But we have to teach them, guide them, lead them, that they should be informing us of what they're doing. All right. So, hey, Mom, I'm going to go climb this tree. All right. Now, if these are the children, you need to give them enough rope to where they can still have their own autonomy, but yet you need to have them feel safe. So again, if you have a manifestor child, you as a parent might model, I'm going to go out to get the mail, and then I'm like, model what it looks like, start informing, and then go doing it. But you also have to have them understand, just because you inform me doesn't mean that I will always permit you to do that, because there are some things as a parent, I'm responsible for keeping you safe. Like I have to keep you alive, right?
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know, especially for your grandkiddo.
Yeah. But I think for you as an adult, a manifestor, the way you're going to operate first in the world would be much different than me. I'm a generator. Like I have to wait to respond to things, which means I need to put myself in situations I can respond to, but you can just go after it. You are the change maker.
It's so powerful. And I always feel like that. Yes. And I do a lot better when I have a team of people that can then help me take that idea further, because I don't know if this is true of all the manifestors or just how I'm built, but you get all these big ideas and it's really fun and exciting, and you can kind of just start like going, but then all the tiny pieces and all the process pieces. And like I said, when I saw the human design chart and it was just so many things, I was like, I'm done. I'm out of here. So, I think having those other people that are able to kind of catch the idea and help you bring it along, is so important. And I don't know if that's true of all manifestors, but, I found that is like key for me.
Yes.
In my business.
And I believe also with that team, you need to inform so they all know what you're doing. It's like, oh, she's doing this. Now I know why. And that's really important to bring them along.
Yes, absolutely. More communication. Also good for marriage. So
exactly. And one last type, I don't want to forget them. These are the reflectors, 1% of the population. All right.
Wow.
They have none of their centers defined, which means they are absorbing energy off of everything and anyone and everyone in their environment. So they have a 28-day cycle, which they have to go through to just absorb and take in information before they can really make some big decisions. So they really need to be very careful on the environments they choose and the people they surround themselves with.
That's fascinating. 1%, do you find, or do you see, are reflectors more introverted, or does that matter at all?
I don't think it matters, but again, they are going to respond based on who they're around.
Okay. Wow. That's fascinating. This is so wild. Okay. So you find out your type or your energy type, right? And then, and then you can start going down a lot of rabbit holes, Lisa, because there's a lot of things you can find out about manifestors on the internet, right? We're like, oh, really? Okay. So what's the next thing we should look at so we don't go too far down?
Yeah. So once you know your type, then you need to know your strategy, right? Okay. You need to know how you navigate through the world. So, I jumped into yours already. Manifestors need to initiate and then inform. Projectors, I mentioned this as well. They need to wait for an invitation. Okay. So they've got this insight, the wisdom. It doesn't mean that they don't communicate their expertise on social media, their point of view, their personality, all of that. But they can't push themselves on other people and expect things to go well. Now, do they? Yes. I think most of us in the world want to operate as manifestors because what we've been told from all the gurus, be productive, work hard, hustle and grind, get out there, like give it your all. That's a manifestor. Like they're out there doing that. But the rest of the types have a different way to operate. And so that projector is waiting for an invitation. The generator and the manifesting generator is wait to respond. Now, since 70% of the population falls into this category, let me talk to you a little bit about waiting to respond.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's not sitting at your desk waiting for an email to come in and hoping you get business, but it's putting yourself in situations where you have something to respond to. Let me give you an example. Waiting to respond is going on social media and seeing a post and being able to make a contribution through the comments. Something has come to me, I'm going to respond to it.
Okay.
It's putting yourself in situations where you get to meet people. So when I realized this and started operating in a way that I wasn't going to meet people just sitting in my living room, I had to attend networking events. I had to be part of coaching groups. I had to be in a place where I would be in proximity to others, where I could talk about what I did, and then someone would come to me. So I was just on a call earlier today with a client. I met him at a networking event. He had to leave early. He came over and set his business card down in front of my face and said, I'd like to connect. Now, guess what I did? I responded. It fell into my lap.
Yes. Beautiful.
I received a text the other day from a woman who was celebrating. I just had 100 episodes of my podcast. She reached out with a text. Congratulations. I'd love to have you come talk to my coaching group. Guess what? I had something to respond to. Things just start falling out of the universe when you operate in this area.
What a beautiful thing to know. And then to create for yourself, right? Because those things didn't fall out of the universe, right? You initiated this moment of saying, like, I'm ready for connection and opportunities to respond. So how powerful to know that. Yeah. If you didn't know that, do you think is your tendency more to stay in a little bit more, maybe not be out and about so much? Was that a good push for you to start making that happen, or would you have done that anyway? I'm really curious.
Yeah, I think what it did, Amy, is it gave me a different perspective on how to operate, because what I was doing was what I knew I was doing was really hard. How I was going about my business. Was it working? Yes, but I was having to work really hard at making it happen.
Okay.
So when I understood that waiting to respond was how I am designed, then it actually even led to my word of the year. And my word of the year this year, at the end of 2023 and going into 2024, because it was so successful, I'm keeping that word of the year.
Ooh, I love a double year word. Okay.
Yes. But the word I use is surrender. Surrender does not mean wait for things to happen to me. Surrender means I know it is already done. I am just surrendering until that magic shows up, and then I have something to respond to.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's a powerful word. Okay. I love that word for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you run your business based on an alignment with who you are, that's when your business works.
Yes. I 100% believe that.
Wow. There is one more thing I want to talk about human design. So we know type, strategy. The third thing I want you to walk away with today is authority. Authority is how you make decisions.
Okay.
How you make decisions. How you make decisions will come to you based on what we can read in your chart. Now, a great number of the population has emotional authority. All right. And so in your chart, that will mean that your solar plexus is defined. That means your solar plexus center is colored in.
Okay. I
have emotional authority. You have emotional authority as well. So we both have this. So this is what it looks like. When we're presented with an opportunity, we tend to feel an emotion. It's either a really high emotion, an excited emotion, a fearful, like there's some level of emotion.
Yes.
We do better in making a decision when we allow time to ride the emotional wave, right? So typically 24 to 48 hours, we start settling down a little bit, we recalibrate, we get to a point where we're at an emotional stop, right? And then we're like, okay, now how does that feel? So if you are an emotional authority, it's best when you're presented with a big opportunity, not to make a decision immediately, but to say, can you give me a day or two and I get back to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've heard that before.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that too, because I find there's so much power during dream time. Like when you're sleeping, I love that, phrase, like, let me sleep on it. Because for me, I get a lot of my answers and knowings from taking a beat. So that's good to know. I love it. What happens if you don't have an emotional authority? Is it better for you to just make a decision quickly? What does that look like?
Yeah, so there's different levels of authority. So if you don't have an emotional authority and you're a sacral being, you you could have what's called a sacral authority, and so that is where you trust your gut, purely trust your gut. There's splenic authority, there's ego-centered, there's different levels of authority. So again, as you work with someone to have your human design chart analyzed, they can go into it with you. But I mentioned emotional authority because again, there's a great percentage of the world that does run on emotional authority.
Okay. So for most people listening, it's good to take a break. And if you hear something big, say, okay, let me sleep on it. Let me have a night.
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Well, that's powerful though, because I think so much of the time, a lot of times we operate out of, scarcity or some of these things where you see this big thing. It's like, oh, it might not be here tomorrow. Right. And so giving yourself that surrender, that trust that this is how you should make decisions can be really powerful. So I love that.
Yeah. And what you said there, like when you start thinking about it, here's the thing. When you start thinking about it, that comes into your ego. What is our ego created to do? It's created to keep us safe, to help us survive. And if how you're operating now is still helping you survive, like you're alive, well, then let's stay in this place. Why would I change? Because it might be a risk to change, right? Yeah. So that's where the conditioning that has come in, the information that you have created between 0 and 7 that comes in to form your ego, that's where your ego and your mind starts getting in the way of your design.
Yeah. Ooh, that's powerful. And also it makes you think, okay, how are we raising our kids? Because that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where human design is amazing if you are parenting. Because between the ages of 0 and 7, your child's brain is in theta state. Yeah. Their whole makeup is, how can I be loved, right? How can I be loved? That's all that they're looking at. They don't have an ego yet. But what happens when something happens to them, and let's say they learn that when I perform well, that when I do things to get attention, then people will love me. 70% of the world deals with a lack of self-worth. And this has come between the ages of 0 and 7. Something happened to us as children, to 70% of us as children, that told us, unless something works in a certain way, then you are not worthy of being loved. So why human design is so great for children is we don't have to go through all of this deconditioning that as adults we need to do, right? All of this being in nature, all of this therapy, all of this breath work and somatic release and all of the journaling, all of that is a way for us to start deconditioning all of these stories we've told ourselves. And so that's why getting to your children before they get conditioned is a great opportunity. They don't have to go back and peel those layers off of the onion.
What a beautiful place to go, because I do think, and you and I have talked about this so many times, and, this podcast is not a mom podcast by any means, but I do think that the more as we as adults or parents, a lot of people have parents or are a parent. If you are a parent, doing this work for yourself has a direct impact on your kiddos. And the healthier we are, the more lit up, the more we're in our work and our alignment and doing this good stuff is so powerful, because, kids are watching as much as you're teaching them. And so anyway, it's a lot of pressure, right? 0 to 7, it makes everyone go, oh my gosh, what are we doing? But I think bringing it back to the childhood experience matters so much, but your parenthood experience matters so much as well, because that directly impacts your kiddos. So, so doing this work for you, yes, will have that impact, right, on your kids, which I think is just, or your grandkids, like you're now seeing it in a whole different light with your next generation. So I think that's really powerful.
Yes, and I think, when people see you doing this work, it's to bring you to a different level. It's to make you a better version of yourself. And I think the more that we do this work, the more we are cognizant of the fact that we are designed differently.
Yeah.
And guess what? That's okay. That's okay. I heard on a podcast this morning, someone used the word prejudice. Prejudice is prejudging people.
Mm.
And when we prejudge people, we're automatically making assumptions that we don't like something because they're not the way we are. They're not the way we believe. And the world today needs less of that. We need more love. We need more acceptance. We need more curiosity. And this is where you hear a lot about the sacred feminine energy that is coming into the workplace. And that's what we need right now.
Can you talk more about this? Because I know this is part of, and this is so fun because right before we started recording, we're like, how woo can we go here? But I think business and energy and these topics, human design, the sacred feminine, all of them have to start playing now in this new world. I mean, really, the old things aren't working anymore. We're shifting into a whole different place. I know this is a really big part of the work that you're thinking about working through. I mean, for somebody who's listening to this that maybe is leading a team and they're like, what the heck are you guys talking about? Like, I think though it's important for everyone to start paying attention. And what does that actually mean when we say like, this work matters?
So I started feeling this pull towards, after the pandemic, the people that we were before the pandemic and the people that we are afterwards, we're two different, like we're not the same people. We have different priorities. We've seen the world in a different way. We understand, like, we've woken up to what is it I'm doing with my life? So I became very interested in company culture and how leaders are equipped to lead this new breed of people that they have that are in their team members. How do we engage them? Employee engagement is at an all-time low because people need to feel a part of something. So if you look at the leaders, how are they equipped? What they first wanted to do is let's go back and do it the way we used to do. Well, that's not working anymore. So how do we engage employees? And the impact of engaging employees is going to end up being more customer loyalty, higher profits, all of those things that we're trying to do anyway. And we've done it with a very strong male energy. Now, let me just say, Amy, this is not about gender, male versus female. We all have male energy and we all have female energy. All right. Male energy is pushing, it's aggressive, it's structure, it's making things happen, it's forcing, it's strength, it's stability. Female energy is more connection, collaboration, listening, receptivity. So if you look at that, we need both of those. We need both of those to make things happen in our business. Traditionally, corporate America has been driven by this very strong male energy. And this is why when women entered the workforce and entered the boardroom, they felt the need to start acting like men, right? Mm-hmm. This is where they show up with this strong male energy. And it's not natural for us to push so hard because we do have that balance. So this is where leaders today need to be curious and start listening to who is it that I'm leading? What is it inspires them? What are their gifts and talents? What is their purpose? What do they feel like they can contribute? They need to be heard. Let's treat them like humans. Let's bring them along and align their purpose to our vision of where we want the company to go. And that's where this feminine energy is coming in. We are at a point in our world right now where business structure as it has been created is starting to break down. Our banking system's breaking down. Our medical system's breaking down. Religion is breaking down. Politicians are breaking down, or the political system. This is all breaking down because how it's been created to help us survive is no longer working for where humanity is going. We need something more. And so that's why we're seeing all of this shakiness.
I love that, because I think as things shift, the entrepreneur, the small business owner, I always say, like, you matter so much, because, you know, I think as corporations shift and do their thing, and, you know, we've worked for big companies, we've done that, you know, we've done those things, and we've come back home and in a different way and say, like, we're going to try this. At least I know I did. I think you did too, Lisa. We're going to do this in a different way. We're going to try our way and see what happens. And both of us can sit here and say, look, it's working. It's great. And I think it gives other people encouragement to say, look, we could do something a different way. But as we start creating our own teams, or as we do these things, it's so easy to start moving back into like that corporate shift of like, well, this is how other people have done teams, so maybe I should do it that way. And it, you know, we're kind of journeying in we're pioneering a new way. And that can be really scary to not always, you know, be looking back at the old way and be like, oh, that kind of worked. So when, you know, as people are moving into that piece and shifting from solopreneur to team leader, whatever that looks like, or if you have a team and you're listening, do people need to, as they're learning about human design, do they need to understand everyone on their team's human design? Or is it best to just understand yours and then work from that place, and that will radiate out into the world? Can you, I know we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but can you help me understand that? Because as you're building a team, whether it's a small team, 5 people, should you be like, I need everyone's human design charts now? Or do you just start showing up and saying, like, I'm a manifestor team, here's what you should know? Okay, walk me through this, because I think this is probably a challenge that most people are facing right now.
Oh, yes. Yes. And what an amazing question. Well, you know, to start with, I feel like there is no greater knowledge than self-awareness. You have to start there. You have to start with knowing yourself and knowing what are your strengths and talents, and what are the things you need to back away from, and perhaps allow other people to bring that strength they have and bring it to the table, right? Of helping them understand that we're all created differently. So that is the first thing, is knowing yours. I think we're going to, I know we're going to start hearing more and more about human design. You know, one thing I didn't mention, Amy, is human design has not been around that long. It was first brought into the world in the late 80s. And then the gentleman who received this message wrote a book about it in the early 90s. One reason why it has been so recent is because the world was not ready to hear it. And if you look at what he did, is he brought together all of this ancient wisdom, this quantum science that's coming together. And now is when we're ready to hear it. You're seeing more and more about human design, you know, and the fact that the Washington Post has named it as this is the new way the world is going. I believe you're going to start hearing more about it. But where I could see it working in your team is first know yourself. And then whether you understand it's Clifton Strength Finders, it's Enneagram, or if you want to go into human design, the benefit of doing that is your team starts understanding everyone has value. Everyone brings a gift to the world. We all have a message that we're here to communicate to others. There's a certain way that we're supposed to be sharing ourselves. That is where the benefit of any type of personality assessment can help us become more aware of this person on my team. They're different than me. It doesn't mean I have to reject them. Like, let me get curious and see what is the benefit they bring. So whether you bring your team into human design or not, that's up to you. But I think there is a lot of benefit. And as you start sharing yours, then if your other team members would like to have it, because it's going to make them a better employee, it's going to make them a better team member, it's going to make them a better person by having that knowledge.
Yeah. Okay. That's powerful. I love know yourself first and then go out. But it probably would be so helpful to understand some of your teams, you know, the way that they are energy in the world, right? To understand, okay, I know you could work all day and all night if I give you something to respond to, right? Or,
yes.
Okay, you have a 3-hour window. All right. Like, that's good to know, you know, because I really think we often as leaders say, like, we really want, I mean, I say this to my team all the time and they're always like, do you really mean it? But I'm like, I really do want you to be doing the work in the world that lights you up. So like, if you're not lit up, we got to change your job description and find someone else to come in and do this piece, because if you're miserable, it affects so many other things. But it would be so probably beneficial for everyone to know this is how you make decisions. I know you're not going to say that in a meeting. I'm going to give you a couple of days to come back to that. So that would be really, really like good information, I think, for small teams for sure.
Yes. And I think, how you assign projects and deadlines and knowing what is their zone of genius. I also want to mention something, pick up on what you said, is if people are not working in alignment with who they are, then that is where it starts impacting your body and your health, right? Mm-hmm. So then you'll start seeing, disease is the dis-ease of working out of alignment. So understanding how people are designed and what they're created to do, how they work best with other people, all of that knowledge is power.
Wow. Oh, Lisa, we could talk about this for like 10 hours today.
We could, but I think that would be a really long podcast.
It'd be a really long podcast. We'll wrap it up. But this was so powerful. Thank you for sharing this wisdom today. I'll link all the ways that people can find you. You have the most beautiful newsletter that you send out. Not all the time, because that's not your energy right now, right? But I love it. Whenever it pops in my inbox, but you're doing it in your way, which I love, right? You're like, I'm not going to email every single week just because I have to. I'm going to do it my way. So anyway, Lisa has an amazing newsletter that's so good. So go subscribe, and I'll link all of the ways people can find you as well. But is there any last thing that you want people to know about you or this work, or any gem of wisdom that you want to share before we sign off?
Yes. Oh, that's a big open door there for me, Amy. Yeah. I just want to encourage people that you came in the world with a purpose and something here to do. And one thing that I realized is I didn't want to get to the end of my life with the biggest regret most people have, the biggest regret of the dying. And this is from a book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying, or by Bronnie Ware. I'll have to send you that for the show notes as well. Is the biggest regret people had when they were about ready to pass is they didn't live the life that they didn't have the courage to live the life they were supposed to live, and instead live the life that others wanted them to live. So I want to encourage people, find that courage, live the life that you came here to live. This is your chance to do it. Everyone else has their own chance. So don't feel like you need to follow someone else's script. Understand who you are and live in alignment with that.
Oh, Lisa, thank you so much. I want to affirm you. Thank you for your wisdom and all the ways that you've mentored my life. And that was a beautiful, beautiful place to end. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It has been wonderful to watch you evolve and grow, Amy. It's exciting to see where you're going. And I just love the work that you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you for listening. I'll link everything up. And Lisa, you have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thanks, Amy.
Thanks for listening to Business Origin Stories. Love the podcast? Be sure to share it with a friend or colleague and give us a review on Apple Podcasts. Join me on Instagram and make sure to sign up for our weekly email.